Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. CZ Studios fired up for you. In front of Mark Walters, in front of the Patriot Mobile mic at the Patriot Mobile Command Center. This is a Patriot Mobile activated phone. You hear me every day talk about this. And we're going to talk with Danielle Buck in just a moment. We love Danielle, and we're going to find out today. That's going to, every time she's on now, Greg, from now on, we're going to say, where in the world is Danielle Buck? Because she's everywhere, fighting for your rights and your freedoms at Patriot Mobile. Great stuff. Yesterday, I reminded you that, what did I say, Greg? Over 80% of the employees carry at the office, and they are all encouraged to do so. It's a wonderful thing. Try that at your current carrier if your current carrier isn't Patriot Mobile, guys. PatriotMobile.com/AAR, PatriotMobile.com/AAR, and take advantage of the discounts there, the free month, all the fun stuff. Let's go now to Patriot Mobile's Danielle Buck. Danielle, welcome in. We love Danielle Buck. Danielle, where in the world is Danielle Buck today?
Well, I'm actually in Texas at home.
Good for you.
Shocking, but I was in New York City on Ellis Island celebrating America's 250th with about 700 Americans, which was an incredible night, and we'll have to talk about that here in a minute. But I am for a brief minute home because, thank goodness, my oldest actually turned 6. And so, of course, Mom cannot miss a birthday, not at this age. So Mom is back home.
You know, I feel you. I emceed the gun rights policy conferences for years. And every year, my son's birthday is on September 30th, and every year that policy conference was the last week in September. And I missed my son's birthday for years and years and years. And on his 18th birthday, I said, no, that's not going to happen. And I was not going to miss his 18th birthday. And I haven't missed one since. And fortunately, the days have been pushed forward. So I get it. 6 is a great age. God bless you for being home. That's such a, it's such a fun, it really is a fun age.
I'm so glad to be home.
Enjoy it. Let's talk about Ellis Island.
Team members are all over.
Okay, well, where are some of them?
We have a bunch of people up in, Glenn and Jenny are up in Washington, D.C. For Council for National Policy, and then we also have Scott and Stephen headed to Dover for a NASCAR race. And I think there's somebody else somewhere else. To be honest, it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Every time we look at our calendars of who's where. But it is awesome. So Ellis Island. Okay, so I have to tell you, it was one of those events where I went not really knowing what to expect. Okay, we're celebrating America's 250th on Ellis Island. And it was co-sponsored by multiple groups that we work with. So Moms for Liberty was the main sponsor, and then they brought in American Journey Experience and Mercury One, which are both kind of underneath, Glenn Beck's orbit, if you would, but they're talking about the story of America and its founding documents and the history, and then obviously to be on Ellis Island, where millions of Americans went through, including many, I think it said 40% of Americans can trace an ancestor that went through Ellis Island.
My grandfather.
And so we sat in that hall. Really?
Yeah.
Your grandfather? Where did he come from?
He came from Italy in 1920, came through Ellis Island, left his wife, my grandmother, at home for 2 years, wound up in Dayton, Ohio after coming to the country legally from Italy, then sent for her, and they raised a family. My mother is one of 16 children. I have 87 first cousins on my mom's side of the family. It all came through Ellis Island. So, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. My great-grandmother came on a boat from Italy at the age of 9, and I found her name while I was there. And I FaceTimed my kids, to tell them, they came from Italy with a dream and hope of starting a new life in America. And they came to assimilate to the culture and yet bring the Italian heritage, right? And I think that's so important to talk about the legal immigration in our country. And the beautiful thing that makes America is that it's different than other countries, and that it didn't matter who your family was. It didn't matter how much money you had in your pocket. If you were going to work hard and you had a dream to create something, you could do that here. And there are millions of Americans that have those stories. And Glenn Beck, during his speech at the event, he talked about a 13-year-old girl who came over from Scotland to be a maid in a hotel in New York City. That woman worked her way up, became Donald Trump's mother.
Yeah. Now, Danielle, I have to ask you a question real quick.
I love that story.
Were you listening to the first 2 segments of today's show? Because it sounds like you were. I'm going to go here with you when we come back because it's a perfect segue. I was commenting on AOC's boneheaded, stupid comments about the founding of our nation from a piece that appeared on Fox.
Oh, gosh.
What you are saying is a direct rebuke to her. And I can't wait to get your opinion on that when we'll hold off until the next segment. Wait till you hear this, and you will have an answer. And I told Greg in the previous segment, I want to get your perspective as another female from what you heard from this woman, someone who understand patriotism, who get it. And here you are talking about Ellis Island. I did see your post, and it's remarkable. And I have been there, and I have my grandfather's paperwork, so it's really cool to be able to feel that part of your history, right?
It's incredible. It brought tears to my eyes, and it is something to be celebrated. America is something to be celebrated as a beacon of hope and light to the world, and I wish that more people were talking about how great that is, and that I think it is so incredible that we have 250 years of freedom to celebrate, and freedoms that we still have to fight for, but they have been fought by our men and women in the military, and I think that's something that also needs to be talked about equally, is how many people have sacrificed so much to make America what it is today.
Yeah, and that person who came here at 13, according to AOC, didn't do that. You know, you can remember Barack Obama saying a while back, you didn't build that. You remember that? Their thought problem. My grandfather came in through Ellis Island and somehow wound up in Dayton, Ohio. I'm not sure how he wound up there, to be honest with you, but he did. He went on to build a concrete contracting company that is still in business to this day, Lucenti and Sons, and they are responsible for building the vast majority of that concrete that you see in and around Dayton, Ohio. Came from my grandfather's. He built that business and raised a huge family, AOC, and he did it with his bare hands. Not on the backs of other people. It really is a remarkable story. And when you hear what she has to say about this coming up, I cannot wait to hear your perspective. So when you left, it's going to be that's why I can't talk about it now. I want to wait till we get into the next segment and we have a couple more minutes. But so when you came out of there, what did you feel when you got home after seeing that? Did you glance back at that in your mind's eye and go, wow, what I just saw and how I felt? Yeah.
Well, I think the most special moment of the evening for me was after finding my great-grandmother, after, we were sponsoring this, I got to speak briefly and all that, and talk on Real America's Voice, was then singing God Bless America as fireworks are going off, and I'm looking at the New York Harbor and the Statue of Liberty and thinking, it is because of the hand of God that we live in this country, and that I live in this country, and that everyone who's listening lives in this country. There's no other reason, and he should get all the glory. And for me personally, it was such a worshipful moment in those 10 seconds of wow, what a night to celebrate America and also to celebrate our God. And so, it was really incredible. And the same organizers, I have to mention this, are planning a very similar event on the West Coast on D-Day on June 6th on the flight deck at the USS Midway in San Diego. And if anyone is listening to this and says, oh my gosh, I want to go, or that's not too far for me, there's still tickets available. And it's the same group that's organizing it. It's Moms for Liberty, American Journey Experience. It's called From Sea to Shining Sea. And it's celebrating America's 250th on the flight deck of the USS Midway, which I think is just going to be incredible. This one will be less focused on, the immigration, and this one will be focused more on our military, which is fantastic. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I will be going to that one. And I'm bringing my husband, also served in our Air Force. Yeah, so my husband gets to go to this one with me because it's important for him to see not just my work, but also he served and his father served and his grandfather served. He's the third generation in a row to serve in the U.S. military, and he should be honored for that service. It should all of the men and women that have fought for our country. And so I'm excited about that event. I just mentioned it because I do think there are people who are I want to be part of something like that. And yes, switch your phones and you can help support it. But also, if you're, a couple hours from there, you should go. It was one of those events where I left thinking every American should have an experience like this where they get to really celebrate America.
And see the Grand Canyon while we're at it. Hey, guys, we'll be back with Danielle Buck. I've got to get your opinion on AOC's comments about what she wants to do to the very nation you're talking about right now. We'll be right back with Danielle. Don't go away.